The Gospel of the Lord. My dear people of God, the first reading of today, like we all know, tells us the story of David and Saul. Now, to understand it clearly, I'll take us back to the first book of Samuel, chapter 16. And I will encourage us to go home and read through that. In that chapter, we see something strange happening. The powerful king in Israel then, Saul, had lost favor with God. And suddenly God tells Nathan, the prophet, to go and anoint another king to replace him. And who did Nathan choose? Young David, young man, inexperienced and unassuming. And this young David was anointed to take over from this powerful, rich, ruthless king called Saul. It was a mismatch. People thought it was not possible. But David knew that being anointed as king is one thing, but proving yourself capable is another. And so in 1 Samuel chapter 17, we see David stepping out for the very first time to prove himself. It was at a point when the Israelites and the Philistines were having a war that is still on till today. It never ends. And you know the story of Goliath, the giant that came, and David defeated him and brought victory to his people. Suddenly, the tide changed. This young David that was seen as incapable of leadership was now being hailed as the next big thing. Of course, King Saul heard it and said, hey, I have to deal with that young man called who? David. And so, in chapter 26 that we just heard today, the king Saul went in search of David. And after looking for him in the woods, he couldn't find him. It was dark. Saul decided to go and catch a little nap at night with his soldiers. But David, who knew the woods so well, wriggled his way and came to where King Saul was, defenseless, unprotected. Abishai, who was with him, said, this is your opportunity to become king tomorrow. Just do the needful, and it will be over. But David said, no. I've been anointed. I know I'm going to be the next king, but I don't want to walk to the throne with bloodshed. No. He said no. It was a focal point in leadership. And it reminds me about the sacrament of baptism. You know, each and every one of us here, we've all received that sacrament, I guess. But that sacrament is not in vain. That sacrament was given to us by God to strengthen us to be better people. It was to be a long walk from your baptism till you get to God's throne in heaven. But along the way, you are going to meet challenges, just like King David met on his way. But those challenges that we meet should bring out the best and not the worst in us. And so sometimes it's good to ask ourselves, someone who has done something very wrong to me or something very hurtful, if I have an opportunity without consequences, without repercussions, what will I do? It's easy to say, I will forgive. But when you know that there will be no consequence for payback, there will be no consequences for returning eye for an eye, what do we do?